The Gottman Institute also discovered, as they monitored couples over decades, that there's no correlation between conflict and couples who divorce. There is, however, a strong correlation between the habitual avoidance of conflict and divorce. Do you seem to have the same argument over and over and over? Do the same issues keep coming around again? They do for us.
The Gottman Institute does fantastic relationship research, and one of the things they've learned is that unhappy couples say that 69% of their conflict is over these perpetual things, the same things over and over. Do you know what they found out about happy couples? They have conflict as well, and they said 69% of their conflict is over perpetual issues. Isn't that amazing? Both happy and unhappy couples say the same thing. The difference is how they handle the conflict.
Problem is, a lot of us don't know how to handle conflict. We've never learned how. Some of us grew up in families where healthy conflict was never modeled, or we're just naturally inclined to avoid conflict, or actually we could be afraid of it. But here's the thing, the Gottman Institute also discovered, as they monitored couples over decades, that there's no correlation between conflict and couples who divorce. There is, however, a strong correlation between the habitual avoidance of conflict and divorce. We've seen that ourselves. We worry way more about the couples who aren't fighting than the couples who are, because conflict can be really healthy.
Have you ever heard of a controlled burn? It's a phrase from forest fire management. Controlled burns are these small fires that are deliberately set so they clean up the debris on the forest floor. Conflict can be like that in a marriage. Having hard, honest, respectful, but sort of bounded fights is a good tactic. If we have controlled burns, we can get rid of all kinds of junk and it won't build up, and the next small spark of conflict won't burn down the whole house. You know what I mean? Two simple things can really help keep these controlled burns under control. And the first one's this. Remember, you're not in a competition. You're not trying to defeat your spouse. Marriage is the only game in town. You either both win or you both lose. Remember this, your spouse is not your enemy.
Second thing, learn to go after the issue, not each other. So picture yourself sitting across the table from each other, sort of like this. The thing you're fighting over is like a big old pile in the middle of the table, and you see it from this perspective, your partner sees it from their perspective. Now, picture yourself coming around the table. The issue hasn't changed. It's still this big old mess, but now you're seeing it from the same perspective. It's not your issue or my issue, it's our issue, and we're going to tackle it together.
Conflict is inevitable. It's normal. It's actually even healthy when it's a controlled burn. When we were researching this, we discovered that some plants only grow in the forest after a fire. And there are some types of pine cones that only open up under extreme heat. You see how good things can come from fire, from conflict. Conflict done well, hard, honest, respectful, bounded, it can bring beauty and life and deeper intimacy to our marriages.